This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out of Me.
Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
We took a week off, but we're back, okay?
Things happen. Life happens.
Life
so we're
happens.
back.
It's a crazy world, okay? That's just all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, we live in a wild world.
We
okay?
live in a wild, crazy world. Hey, you know what else is wild? Do you know you can help us?
This podcast.
If you enjoy listening to us, you can actually help us. We're enlisting you. Like the army guy in this movie.
Oh, right.
We're enlisting you.
Tell us, Sergeant.
Please, if you feel so inclined, go like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, give us a review. We do recommendations every 5 episodes, so get those in. Please, whether it's an older one, a newer one, doesn't matter. We'll put it on the list.
Current year, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We'll get to it every 5 episodes. We'll do a recommendation. It might be yours. It's kind of sort of a lottery system in a way. You know, you just wait for your turn.
You'll get it. Don't you worry.
They'll get there.
Unless I can't find it, then I mean.
Yeah, but I mean,
so be it.
eventually we'll get there. And if we can't find it, maybe we can work something out where you can send it to us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
If I can't find it, I'll let you know.
really helps out the podcast when you do all that stuff. Really helps us out. Makes our hearts larger, and makes us want to do more content for you. We would do it anyway, but you know, it gives us a little incentive to do.
Yeah, it's fun.
So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for doing all that. Now we will get into the episode. Hollow Gate.
Right.
This is
So, you remember once upon a time there was a movie called Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I do remember that. Yes.
It was, Christmas.
We watched the first one on our podcast. And
Quite.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna watch the second one too.
No. Unless someone wants to really request it, but I won't get into that. But good movie.
Yeah.
But what that movie is at the base level is kid experiences a horrible thing in childhood around Christmas time, grows up, and when Christmas rolls around, he gets re-triggered, whatever, goes on a murder spree.
So imagine watching that and being like, that's a cool concept.
Halloween.
Maybe we should do it around Halloween, yeah.
Obviously. Halloween's already...
It makes sense, right? So basically what it is it's a kid bobbing for apples, and he has an alcoholic father.
And there's like 20 kids at this party.
There's 20 kids. They all bob for apples. I think it's the kid's party, so I don't know why they're all making fun of him when he starts to bob for apples.
It's his house. Well, they're not making fun of him, but his dad.
Well, they're making fun of the fact that the wig, like he's dressed as a clown, so the clown wig keeps dipping in the water, and he can't get the fucking apple. It doesn't matter. Dad keeps drinking whiskey. He's just fucking pounding the glasses of whiskey
In the next room.
and he's just looking all menacingly at the fucking kid bobbing for apples. And he's like, you know what? My kid's a fucking pussy. I fucking hate that he can't get that goddamn apple out of that goddamn galvanized tub.
And he, basically
Almost drowns him.
and the kid's party's ruined.
Yep.
And
So he doesn't die. No one dies. Nothing
But he's
happens.
sitting
He
with
just has
his-
an asshole father.
but he sits there with his grandma, and they're talking, and he's like, I hate him. Hate my parents. I hate Halloween.
His grandma's consoling him. Now, one thing right off the bat, you should know, this is definitely shot on home video.
It is,
Because,
yes.
well, it looks okay, to be honest. The
It's
audio,
the best looking.
the audio, when I tell you it's bad, I mean, it is very bad.
As par for the course.
It is, you cannot understand shit.
Par for the course for these
true.
shot-on-home video movies.
Every single one we watch, I swear to God, they don't have like the capability of putting in like an extra mic.
They're just recording off the freaking...
I know, but like, couldn't you get an accessory to like attach a mic and like have it over the actors?
Too much money.
So we can actually hear what the fuck people are saying?
Too much money. Too much
I guess
too much
so.
manpower.
No,
too
you're
much
right.
work.
You're right. Way too much involvement.
This is probably the best looking
I would say it's the best shot home video movie we've seen
so far.
So far on the podcast. I would say that on the podcast, yeah.
It's
like, because I mean,
they do make it look like a movie.
They do a good job, but it still has that sheen where it's like that. It's like when you watch an indie movie, you just know they used like a lower quality camera.
Well, it just looks like,
and I mean the audio is definitely a big giveaway, but
it looks like you could just walk through. It looks like you could walk through the TV, and there's that there's no disconnect of it has that feeling of, oh, I'm just watching a home video.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway,
they can use as many fancy shots as they want,
but it's still home video.
That feeling is still there,
Just getting that out of the way real quick, because it is shot on home video. Or shot on Shitio. As, Red Letter Media and we like to say.
As many people have said.
Yes. Anyway, kid almost gets drowned. Grandma consoles him. You can't hear a fucking thing she says to him. Because it's like they shot it far away.
But he hates Halloween.
He hates Halloween. He fucking hates it. So, next scene we get is these two lovers.
Well, it's fast forward 10
years later. It's in, I don't know where, but
it's Oklahoma. What are you talking
even though there's a Utah license plate, and
it certainly looks like
it's
Utah.
It's very hilly for Oklahoma. I have family.
Hills? It's straight up canyons.
Like canyons and shit. And listen, I have family in Oklahoma. I've been to Oklahoma many times. It don't look like that, okay?
Oh, because it isn't.
Because it ain't Oklahoma. That's the thing. It ain't Oklahoma.
But it's
not the Midwest.
They try.
Where the fucking,
because everyone associates Halloween with the Midwest, and I don't know.
Well, anyway.
They had to do it.
It doesn't matter. These two lovers are getting it on a tarp in the middle of the desert, the Oklahoma desert.
In the middle of a field surrounded by mountains.
Yep.
And
the famous Oklahoma mountains.
And they're getting their groove on.
And so he's like, she's cold, and he gives her liquor, warms her up, and then they get in the car.
After they have sex.
And of course, the only thing I could discern from the terrible audio is he had to fucking get gas. They're going to a party, and he has to get gas.
And they're going to go, and he also wants to play a jokeroo on the guy working at the gas station.
Yeah.
And she's like, why him? Blah, blah, blah.
And so they go to the gas station, and it's our dude. You know right away it's the dude that was almost drowned on Halloween.
And it's Halloween again right now.
Because he's just sitting on a chair. They pull up, and he's like, fill her up with $1 and wipe the windshield for me.
And as he's doing that, he just straight up starts making out with his lady
and taking
finger banging her.
And he takes off her panties and undoes her blouse so her boobies are hanging. Well, you don't see anything,
but
but her boobies are supposed to be hanging out and shit.
And the guy's cleaning the windshield and staring as anybody would.
Well, because it's fucking weird. Who does that?
And then he goes up to the window, and the guy's like, "Hey,
fill up with another $1 and look under the hood," even though he never looks under the hood. Look under the hood.
And also take care of this, and he hands him her panties. And so the guy goes over and again puts more gas in the car, and then he
shoves the panties into the gas nozzle, into the little, I don't even know what the fuck it's called, but the little fucking thing where you put the gas. And
he lights it, and then tells them goodbye.
And so they turn on their car and they start driving away. Kaboom!
And the car explodes, and he calls the fire department, saying hey, there's an accident. Oh, no one's still alive. They're all dead.
Oh, no need to hurry. He's nonchalant about it. Just is. Telling them that there's this horrific fire, there's 2 bodies, and then he laughs.
And then it's fast forward 2 years.
2 years. Now, so, okay, at this point, right, he's 10 at the party. You were telling me this before.
Well, it was noticeable because when you first see him without a hat, it's he looks a bit old.
It's if you've ever watched those, sitcoms or, something about high schoolers, and they're all played by, 30-year-old like fucking dudes and
Well, at the
ladies.
very least, usually they, are played by 20-some-year-old people.
Well, and like they look younger, right? But so this guy's supposed to be like his mid-20s
At
and
most.
he looks like a fucking 40-year-old uncle.
I looked up the actor. He was basically 40 when this movie was made.
He looks 40.
So
And he does not look young at all in this movie.
Good job.
And so he's at a gas station again.
And it's a woman.
There's a woman like closing up the gas station. It's Halloween night again. She's going to go hang out with her boyfriend. And so she starts putting away the cash drawer, and he harasses her and is like, hey, let me take you out for ice cream. And she's like, no.
I don't like ice cream.
And he's like, let me take you out to a movie. And
Yeah, he corners her again.
And she's like, I don't like movies. And he's like, what the fuck do you like?
And then he leaves, quote unquote.
I mean, well, so she leaves so she's closing up, but she leaves the keys in the door for some reason. And he takes the keys, and she takes the phone. She takes a phone call from her boyfriend. She's like, yeah, I'm locking up. I'll be there soon. And he comes up to her, and she hits him on the head with the phone. And then he like starts backing her. She goes into the kitchen and gets a knife, and he starts backing her into a corner in the gas station. And he's like, let me just take you to a movie. And she's like, I don't want to go to a movie. And then
she waves.
She's holding the knife, right? And he like firmly grasps it. It's like fucking SpongeBob. Firmly grasp it.
Literally.
And fucking firmly grasps it, and she slowly pulls the knife away from his hand.
And there's gravy.
You just see little, like, it's the fakest blood I've ever seen in my entire life.
It looks like fucking gravy.
And he just squeezes his hand, and then it cuts to the most boring scene in the entire fucking movie.
It cuts to like a judge and 3 lawyers.
And they're all talking
him.
about what to do with him, because he attacked this girl. He didn't kill her. He attacked this girl, and she was like horrified. And he's not been known to kill people.
Well, one of the like prosecutor or whatever is like he's a killer. I know.
Well, like he blew up that car. There's no proof, but I think he did it.
But the other one, but basically what it comes down to is there's no proof.
And like they're like, okay, well, like let's get him on medicine. But he doesn't need to go to an institution, even though he's clearly mentally unwell.
His grandma is rich, and she
wants to fucking give him medicine.
She will basically take care of him, and they're like, "We good? We good? Okay, cool." Fucking grandma's
Now
house.
we condensed it down, but it's like a fucking 5-minute scene in an hour and 25-minute movie.
Fine.
It's so long.
And it's grandma's house.
So Granny's home, and she's working on a rug. And she's like, she's fucking idly working on a goddamn rug.
And then she goes to,
and it doesn't say it, but this is like 2 years. It's like a year or so after. It doesn't matter, because they kind of say it in
she goes
one of the
to
context
his
scenes.
room, and he's in like a fucking room surrounded by books.
It's like a locked door, and he has his little fucking glass of water and his pill bottle next to him.
Because she has to talk to him through an intercom, and she's talking to him, and she's like, "Did you take your medicine?" And we get a picture.
And he's like, "Yes."
We get a still blurry picture of a fucking glass of water and a bottle of pills. And he's like, yes, Granny.
Yes, grandmother. I took
better.
my pills. I am better now.
She's like, are you feeling good? I would like you to come out and
and see my new rug.
I would like you to spend some time with me. Yes, Grandma. That will be good.
Grandma wants him to see her rug.
And
if you know what I mean.
Goes fucking. It's like.
It's so stupid.
It's so on the nose. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like fucking basic bitch idiot dialogue.
There's no like flavor to it, right? There's no like extra.
Well, it's just like you must deliver this information to audience.
It's like goes beyond hand holding.
Okay.
It's just exactly what's gonna happen.
I will unlock the door.
I'm going to unlock the door because you took your medicine.
Yes.
We are going to walk into the living room.
I am going to be safe and
we are going to view my rug, and then I am going to say that we should have a party.
Well, good. So, yeah, because they go into the room, right? and he sits in the chair. And I'm not joking. It's like a 5-minute long take of the camera just swooping around the room.
They really got fancy with,
And
with
it's
the
like-
home video.
It's like him sitting there, and she's like working on her rug and talking to him, and she's like, "I am glad you are good now. I think we need company. We have not had company.
How would you like to have a Halloween party?
That would be good, Grandma.
So
How many people do you think should come? I think like 5 or 6. Yes, Grandma.
No, I love how she's like, would you like to have a big party or would you like to have a small? I was thinking 5 or 6 people because too many people would overwhelm you.
But the camera's like slowly swooping around, and now you can't see him. You just see the grandma. And then she keeps talking and talking, and eventually
she gets up like a fucking robot.
she gets up like a
And then
robot.
it just turns around.
Her spidey sense goes off,
It tingles.
and she gets up and turns around, and he's standing there with scissors.
And he's like,
A party, huh?
So you want me to have a party with all the fucking loonies?
The fucking loonies of Halloween.
I don't even know what the fuck. He's a you should die, hag.
He calls her an old hag and kills her off camera. And
Yeah.
then we get 4 Goombas driving.
Oh my god, I hate these fucking. So we get ADR bullshit, just random stupid
Of a van driving on the
teenage
road
banter while they're driving
to
along
a
the
party
road.
at
And
the hangar.
they're going to the hangar, and he's like, "Boy, I would like some submarine subs and." I would like some submarine subs and suds. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean by suds? Beer. And it's like they have to explain everything.
Well, so after him nagging the driver about
This
how he
dude-
wants a submarine
this dude
sandwich and a beer.
Wants nothing but beer. He's always talking about beer. He's like, let's go get beer because I am a teenage boy in a horror movie
I
and
want
want beer. That's all I want is beer because I'm irresponsible.
Well, they go to a little
A little gas station. Let's just call it
gas
what it is.
station
It's a gas
with
station.
2 booths.
With a sandwich, and they get their he can't say them subs.
Submarine.
They're submarine subs and suds.
And he goes, and they go there, and they drink their beer.
I've heard no one ever call beer suds.
I've heard it maybe once in my entire lifetime. Okay.
But all right, here we go.
But they get that, and then they go across the street. Apparently, is a costume shop.
Yep. So they go in, and they're bitching to the nerdy guy because the nerdy guy is like, "Hey, we don't have the money to."
Because I spent all the money on submarines. And
You
such.
wanted your submarines and suds, and we got that, and now we don't have money
Because
to go to the hangar, and
The
we don't have
hangar has a cover charge
of $5, and they're like, "How are we going to afford that?"
and one of the girls
and the woman,
his girlfriend.
yeah, his girlfriend wants a wig.
And the owner is like, "Hey, I couldn't help but overhear your predicament."
No, he says something like
Yeah.
it's not even like that natural. It's like something like where he's like, "I was listening, and sorry, I was listening, but I heard that you don't have any money. So here,
I have
I
a
will give
solution.
you money in order do this fetch quest for me." They talk like NPCs
Well, he tells her
in a
like,
bad
"Hey,
video game.
I need to deliver 12 costumes to this place.
Yeah.
To Hollow Gate. And if you do that, you can keep the wig." And they're like, "Oh, is it on the way to the hangar?" "Yep, it's right on the way."
Yeah, it's on the way. Just deliver this, and you can have the wig.
So
and
they
you
go,
have the
they
money
drive
for the
there,
hangar.
and it's like a gate with an intercom.
So they go to the intercom, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to deliver your costumes."
And the guy's like, "Did you say we?" He's like, "Yeah, me and my friends." He's like, "Great, come on in." And
So they pull up.
opens the friggin' gate for them.
They go in and they're like, "Whoa, look at how big this mansion is. This is so big and beautiful. This big mansion. It's so big and beautiful.
I'm fucking dying.
Let's get the costume. Let's get the costumes so we can go to the hangar party." Everything is so fucking just like
Literal.
it's just literal. No one talks like this.
And so he lets them in, and they're like, "Wow, this is really beautiful." And he's like, "Would you like a tour?"
And the nerdy guy's like, no, like, we got to go to the hangar. It's
He's like,
already
trust
getting
me,
late.
it's not that big. Okay, fine. And then he gives them a tour off camera, and then they're back in.
I love the subtle, like, what they attempt at foreshadowing. The attempt. Where he, like, looks at his keys. The nerdy guy has his keys hanging on his pocket, and he just... It shows a zoom, a
close-up.
a close-up of the keys, and then a close-up of him looking at the keys. It's like, yeah, we get it. We understand.
He gives them a tour off camera, and they're back in, like, the entrance area. And he's like,
I have something else to show you. And he, like, quickly runs past the nerdy guy and takes the keys.
and he goes off to the hallway. And then you hear him calling one of them over. He's like, hey, Kim.
I could use your help with this. And she goes in and you hear her scream.
And then they all run over. And you see the grandma hanging by, like, fucking something,
and
like
she's
fishing wire.
Here's the thing. She's already gray, which is crazy because she died, like what, an hour ago? Like,
Well, she's old. She grays faster.
But decomposition wouldn't have happened that fast.
He gets shot in the head twice in the movie.
Spoilers!
Okay?
Spoilers!
Don't talk about that.
I know. Listen.
Golden retrievers.
You're gonna have to be asked to suspend
Heavily.
all your disbelief for this fucking movie.
So she's hanging there on fishing wire or whatever with the scissors in her eye.
And she's all gray because decomposition has already started.
And he says some theater kid nonsense, and they run away.
This is like a theater kids slasher movie.
So they run away, and they find out the gate is electrified, so they can't get out.
So yeah, and then he comes on the intercom and he's like, "Oh, come back to the party.
You got 5 minutes.
You have to put on costumes and we will have a party. And then, but if you don't, you have 5 minutes or I will be disappointed."
He says, "I will be offended."
Oh, I will be offended.
And they hear a car driving past and they yell, and that's when you get introduced
to our cops,
to our two cops,
that tell jokes with no punchline. Or you either hear the punchline with no joke or the joke with no punchline.
But they.
I also do love that the guy said, "If you don't come up in 5 minutes, I'm going to be disappointed, and I will have to put on the costumes myself and come find you."
Which he does. But I also love the two cops. They give more exposition.
A huge exposition dump.
Saying like, "Oh yeah, he's a psycho, and his grandma, she built a whole hospital there on her grounds of her estate. But get this.
She owns like the whole county.
But get this. 2 weeks ago, she said he was healed, and she let go all of the doctors and nurses taking care of him."
Well, also, double get this. 2 years ago, 2 teens went missing and died. And I think
their bodies were found cut into pieces.
There was no proof that it was him, but I think it was.
So they're going, and then he's like, "By the way, do you want a meatball sandwich?"
I know a place that makes
the best place
meatball sandwiches.
And then, you know where that's going. So in the meantime, we get a shot of a army man costume laid out across something. And he's like,
we just see we don't see him. We just see his hand
hovering over it.
And he's like, war is hell. Oh, war. Looks like the G words are out. G slurs are out tonight. Oh, blah, blah, blah. War,
G word, huh?
G slur, yeah. Like, I can't say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not fucking saying it.
The most amazing thing to me is later on in the movie, he puts on a fucking cowboy costume, and we don't get
any slurs.
Engine. Shocking.
No, we don't get any disrespect from that. He just says boy a lot. Like, okay.
Boy, you get my cows, boy.
Boy, you rustling my cows, boy.
So he, hovers his hand over the freaking army man costume, says a bunch of garbage.
So they're all running around, and they have because apparently this is a fucking huge, gigantic estate that's covered by forest.
Eventually, they end up at like a garage.
It's like a garage. So the guy's like, "Hey, you guys stay here. I'm going to go investigate. I'm going to try and drive a car out of here."
This is after a 5-minute argument about who's going to go look at the garage. He eventually gets them to relent and is like, "I'll go myself."
Yeah, he's like, "Okay, I'll go in."
He goes. He looks in one car. Nothing. He walks around. looks in the other car, supposedly nothing, and the
then
guy pops out with
the seat flips forward, and he's like, "You goddamn G-slur," and then stabs him with a knife.
and then the guy walks out and has one of the most awkward deaths I've ever seen in a movie.
He just stands there, and
They got me.
do you see it?
And then
It's like, yeah, bro, we see the knife sticking out of your fucking chest.
our theater kid walks out with and he's like, Sergeant, I'll finish him off for you. And he grabs a hatchet and throws
he's
it.
like, he couldn't get past the Jaguars or some bullshit
No, he
about.
throws the friggin' thing at him. Hatchet hits the guy in the head and kills him. And he's like, I'll feed him to the Jaguars. And then he says some nonsense, some total fucking nonsense, and they run away. And then we get our torture scene. What do I mean by torture scene? So, everyone in this movie, would you say they're amateur actors, Will? You know what?
I don't even think the amateur quite describes
Okay,
it.
they are very low rent, okay?
They are like basically plucked off the street.
And
that is how much acting experience they have.
We get a scene of the girlfriend of this guy.
Excruciatingly cringy.
And I'm not
It-
joking.
it
It's
is-
like a fucking...
This scene is painful to watch.
so bad I'm dying. It's a 3 to 4 minute long scene, just one take, unbroken,
She just babbles.
where they just tell this poor woman to just please have a mental breakdown on camera.
Please have a little minty bee on camera, please.
And she just blabs and babbles and spits
She says words, but none of them like really go together.
as the other actor's hand is like, he's doing the hover hand. Did you notice?
I know. Yeah, he's just like he's up around.
Well, it's like he's supposed to like have his hand on her to like comfort her, but eventually he just gives up because they probably didn't know how long this fucking scene would go on.
I don't like. I'm sure even he was like, "What is she fucking like? This is psychotic."
So it's supposed to be her like having a breakdown about how she loved him and they had a good conversation and their last time fucking was so good, but it's just
Well, and last time,
blab.
and then she's like, this is
I can't
this is
believe-
literally how it
I
sounds.
just
like,
can't believe I can't.
But like but we were in love.
Which, listen, I've never had that much of a mental breakdown. It might be accurate, but this was just like excruciating.
I've had like anxiety attacks.
This
and
poor
shit, but,
woman.
like you can talk during a fucking.
This poor woman.
You can make sense during
No.
a mental breakdown.
No. Well, she just saw her boyfriend get murdered by a theater kid. Did you ever see your loved one get murdered by a theater kid? I think
I can't say I have because I think I would
Screaming about-
I think I would watch them die and then die of humiliation myself that a theater kid actually
screaming about feeding people to jaguars and
calling
G-slurs.
people G-slurs like
And-
he's in the fucking Vietnam War like for some reason.
And then
Well, and this makes sense why she like freezes in place and like literally just accepts her death at some point.
our cops, they get to the gas station with the submarine sandwiches.
And they're like, "Hey, I need submarine sandwiches.
I want to...
And the guy's
I'm
like,
hungry.
And then they talk to the shop owner about it being slow because it's Halloween night and how
He's like,
everyone's
did you
going.
see any out-of-staters? He's like, yeah, I saw 4 of them.
Everyone's going to that fucking hangar party.
He's like, I'll tell you what,
And-
meatball sandwich. And the new guy's like, yeah, 2 of them. And then
I'm not even gonna tell the jokes they tell because who fucking cares? And
Indians and beans. And then
he starts to say that joke, and then we don't get the punchline. And the punchline that we hear
was a gorilla and a prostitute.
gorilla. So the gorilla says to the prostitute something about banana peels. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
I'm sure that's a joke, but I don't care.
Then we see the guy hovering over a cowboy costume saying like, yeah, boy, you coming on my land,
He literally
boy.
says, "You rustling my cows."
Yeah, my woman, boy.
You've been looking at my woman. You've been rustling my cows.
And then we get one of the funniest scenes.
Okay, so I legitimately, this is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie because I love how this is the stupidest plan I've ever seen someone in a horror movie make.
Well, it's just like, you have to think like limitations because it's just a fucking field.
Just an empty field, yeah.
And the guy's like, okay, like one by one, we're gonna run across it, okay? And it's just a fucking field.
My question: why didn't they all run across it at the same time?
I have no idea, Will.
Because we see our nerdy guy. He's like the master plan, right? He's like, okay, we're all gonna run across. I'm gonna go first. I'll tell you if the coast
sprints across this empty fucking field.
Dead sprints across this field,
And then they're all like, and the two women are watching like in suspense. And then he gets to the end, and he's like, wait, okay, next one. And you're just like, it's not a minefield.
It's a fucking empty.
It's not like there's a sniper watching them.
They act like there is, because she also dead sprints across this field.
And she gets across it, and then she's like, okay, last one, go. So she starts running, and then you see some big object slowly coming.
I love this scene.
She just stands
You
there.
know what? It reminds me of like those scenes where you just there's their fucking like floating head in this gigantic machine. It looks so fucking uncanny and stupid.
It reminds me of the scene in Austin Powers where
He's
the guy's
doing
like
the steamroller.
the guy's just like stuck there, and then they're just driving like 1 mile an hour, and
He slowly gets crushed
he's just like,
to death.
ah, and then she's like, get out, ah,
Yeah.
and then it cuts like a faraway shot, and it's just like,
It's like literally like 10 feet between them.
and he's just standing there. It's that.
So that's literally what happens, because the woman of the girlfriend of the guy who just died, she starts dead sprinting, and then you see this red tractor with you just see the guy's face like bobbing up and down with this cowboy hat on.
And he's driving like a gigantic, I don't even know, it's like a corn harvester or something.
I think it is a mower, but it's like a older mower because it has like the weird
Well, it's
blades
like a
on it.
gigantic farm mower because it has like the two fucking attachments that come down slowly, and it's like,
So he
it's
just
big.
He looks at her
It drives like a mile an hour.
and he's smiling like a maniac, and she is just frozen in place for no reason.
And eventually, after she gets snapped out, she starts running, and he takes out a rifle and shoots her in the leg.
And then just to add insult to injury, he also shoots the nerd in the leg.
Because he runs and he's like, you get my woman, boy. I know you.
You rustling my jimmies, you fucking stealing my women, boy.
And he shoots him in the fucking leg, too.
And so
And then
she
he-
falls over, and he decides, because she doesn't try and crawl away or run away or anything. She just accepts her fate.
And he runs her over
And he
with
runs
the
her
thing.
over with the mower, and she gets all bloodied, and then
They run away, and then we also get another hilarious moment. So there's a whole thing where the cops are at the place, and the costume shop owner walks in there,
just happens to just. There is no such thing as a coincidence.
and
okay?
he's like, "Wow, what a night!" And then they have a conversation about the out of towners, and then he mentions like,
Well, so the costume shop owner is like, yeah, it's like the busiest night of the year, and my only help calls out, so I had to have some strangers deliver a package.
and they're like, "Really, strangers?" And then he basically sells them like that, you know, the 4 out of state teenagers or whatever were there, and he had to help him deliver a delivery to Hollow Gate, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Hollow Gate."
He's like, that's weird. Why wouldn't they looked pretty dead when we
Why
drove
would the
by.
old woman have a party? And he's like, "Oh, well, it wasn't the old woman who called."
It was the guy, and he's
And
like,
they're
well,
like,
why would
I
he?
got a bad feeling.
He's psychotic. Why would he do that? And they even mentioned how like they were driving by and it didn't look like there was a party
Yeah.
going on.
And so he's got a bad feeling. The main older cop has a bad
So
feeling.
the old cop's like, let me call and see what's going on.
No one answers.
And so like, okay, let's go check it out, just to make sure everything's okay.
We get a hilarious scene where the freaking
Oh my God, the
nerdy
hands.
guy and his girlfriend are running, and the nerdy guy just has his own mental breakdown.
I love.
Because she's
I
just
do
like,
love it. He gets so genuinely frustrated with
he gets
her.
absolutely deranged because she's just
He's
like,
he like he starts like shaking her and shit.
because she's like sitting in the grass, just like nothing.
She's
And
not
he
even
just-
responding to him. He's just like fucking flailing around like a chimpanzee, fucking just like having
You
his
gotta
own.
go. You gotta go.
He even does those kind of screams.
And then
He's like, we're gonna go to the golf cart and we're gonna get out of here and we're gonna go.
and she's just like nothing. And then they go to the golf cart, And I swear to God, he fucking looks in every crevice looking for the keys.
While that's happening, while he's having his minty bee, we see the hover hand over the next costume. Okay,
A butler,
no, it's like a fucking like an Englishman like dog hunter.
I guess.
Because it's like, oh yes,
But he has like the fucking butler fucking cane.
I know, but he has like the fucking.
Oh yes, chap.
Oh yes, chap. We're going
Jolly good, sir.
We're going to have a jolly good time. And then fucking okay, so this seat is so much.
Giant light comes on. A giant light comes on.
While this guy is desperately searching a tiny golf cart for the key.
Keys to the golf cart.
He's looking at every fucking crevice he possibly can.
The fucking guy walks into another like garage,
and you see
two golden retrievers in like dog cages.
And they're quote unquote barking. He walks up and he's like,
"Oh, boys!"
He's like, "Oh, boys, you haven't been fed since Grandma died tonight."
Well, I got food for you, and it's the fucking.
And we're just like,
those are golden retrievers.
Those are fucking golden retrievers. Those are like the most innocent looking dogs. Like the only way you could do worse is if you had like chihuahuas or something.
Fucking teddy bears.
like labradoodles in the cages.
It's like they're not hunting dogs.
They're fucking golden retrievers. What the fuck?
And he fucking opens the fucking garage thingamajig. The guy finds the keys.
He finally finds the keys and he like turns.
He says slowly driving.
Because it's a golf cart, he can't go that fast. And so the dogs are giving chase, right?
And he's driving.
And so he drives, and there's a little tiny log in the middle of the road.
Smallest log on the planet is in the middle of the road.
He runs it over, and his girlfriend gets ejected.
His girlfriend literally
gets ejected from the golf cart, and he gets out to help her for some reason, and gets mauled to death by the golden retriever.
He gets violently mauled to death by the most sweetest dog breed on the planet.
I love how at first the golden retrievers are just like clearly licking his face and shit. Like they're not attacking him at all.
He has like gravy on his face and he's like screaming.
Yeah, and so he just keeps screaming while these golden retrievers
violently maul him to death.
And so she
is laying there.
She's laying there and
accepting her fate. And the guy's like, "Oh, you're injured. We'll get you to help." And then the next scene, we don't get the fucking hover hand this time, but he's a doctor.
He's a doctor, and he has ammonia.
Oh, yeah, ammonia. And he's like telling her, like, "Here, you got to drink this medicine."
He's like, "Don't worry."
The whole time he's saying this, she's like in restraints, and she's
when he's telling her
hammers.
not to worry, it's going to be an easy procedure. Like people go through this all the time. He's like, first you got to take your medicine. And he pours the little bit of ammonia into a glass cup, and like puts it to her mouth, and she finally gets her hand free and slaps the cup into his face, and he is like, ah. Now, first of all, ammonia in the eyes.
Do not go
You'd
there.
probably be incapacitated. I mean, we've already seen golden retrievers maul a guy to death. A tiny log eject a fucking woman out of a golf cart. And fucking just all kinds of unrealistic shit. But the best is yet to come. Don't you worry. And so he gets up and starts charging at her, and she stabs him in the stomach.
She takes the knife and stabs him in the stomach.
And so the cops show up, and they try and call on the intercom, and no one's answering. So
they hear screaming.
I do love it. They hear screaming, and the rookie runs to the gate, and he's like, "No!" And he gets shocked, right?
And then
so the older cop shoots the electrical box, and the gate just slowly opens.
And they drive up, and while the guy is chasing the woman, he's got her on the bed or whatever eventually.
Yeah.
And he's about to, like, I don't know, cut her into itty bitty pieces. Cops show up. and they blast our guy. They blast him in the head, directly in the head once. He gets hit, and he's still stumbling toward him like a fucking zombie or something. And they shoot him in the head again, and we get a POV shot of him of like a camera falling onto the woman, and then it's like ambulances and stuff driving away.
So dude was popped twice in the dome. Like he is literally like there is no shot he is still alive, right?
And then we get the woman is now in like a institution,
and so she looks at the doctor and sees the guy, and he's like,
her door opens.
He's like all zombified,
and he's like, "It's time for your
surgery." Blah blah blah, and then
she screams, and the actual doctor's like,
"We're gonna need help
dejected."
with this one.
He's like, "Oh, we'll need help with this one," and then you see like all the like a hospital room and all of like the fucking equipment.
Dude, I fucking hate this. I hate this fucking ending.
And the camera just swoops around, and it's the guy, and he's like incapacitated
His
in the
eyes
hospital
are closed because he fucking got shot twice.
And the camera
the head
zooms in on his eyes, Will, and he opens his eyeball, and the movie ends.
Bro got domed twice.
He's fine.
He got fucking domed twice in the fucking head.
He's fine.
Headshot? Who cares? This guy's fucking impervious.
Hollowgate. I do love that the poster of this name drops Freddy and Jason.
Yeah. If you didn't see on our Instagram, you can go check it out on Instagram, on our stories, and on our feed. Also on Facebook.
Or look it up on Google.com images.
Yeah. It says a party so scary that even Freddy and Jason wouldn't come.
How does that make you feel, Will?
Like shit.
Do you feel good about that?
No.
I feel good about that.
I fucking hate that. That is fucking atrocious. You're gonna name drop two of probably the most famous slashers.
Especially around this time, yeah.
And
same time this nonsense was made.
And really try and compete with that?
Yep.
You're really gonna try and do that.
When Mark Walters throws a Halloween party, Freddy and Jason, yeah.
Yep, Freddy and Jason wouldn't come or some shit like that.
Freddy and Jason wouldn't, and it's in italics, dare to come.
Yeah, you're right, because they'd be making a better fucking movie. That's bold. I've seen some unrealistic shit in like unsupernatural movies, okay? Like, I mean, Jason can get popped in the head because he's fucking
basically a zombie.
He's just the fucking reincarnation of evil.
Yeah.
And Freddy isn't even fucking alive. So, like, he's a zombie too. So he can get popped in the head and he's fine. You cannot tell me that there's no supernatural elements to this fucking movie and our main dude gets popped in the head twice and survives that shit.
Our 40-year-old young man, like Mark Walters.
That is what happened. He got fucking popped twice in the head.
Is that dude?
That is like the most unrealistic. Like,
no, not at all.
Like, I've heard, I mean, suspension of disbelief is a real thing.
No.
But holy God.
Not on this one.
That is fucking rough. Like, you do not do that. Like, there's no reality where that would happen.
Golden retrievers.
Well, yeah. And fucking the wood thing, like, just projectiling her out of the fucking golf cart. Fucking ejector seat fucking log. And fucking
they went over that log really fast.
The slowest fucking lawnmower on the planet, and she couldn't fucking move a muscle.
It was so terrifying and so large.
In his little fucking cowboy outfit, calling her fucking his woman
as he runs her over.
I don't know. Hollowgate was a fascinating movie. I guess we'll go to shitty to pretty on this one.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. That's what I was going to give it to.
The thing about this movie, and I think it's because it's just so... It's almost like... There's parts of this movie when I swear to God, I was sitting there and it was like lulling me into a fucking like fugue state.
Yeah.
Because there's like no music, barely any fucking audio, And if you do have audio, it was like ambient noise of like cars and like the woods. There's like so many parts of this movie where I was just sitting there and it was like I could just lay my head down and take a nap. It was so like just anti-excitement.
Yeah.
And then bonus, it's the fucking movie where people just run across an empty field.
The only I would say the only portion of this movie that's actually worth watching is like the last like probably 40 minutes of it.
I mean, there's like little bits, largely like, you know, the killing stuff, obviously, that's like kind of entertaining there. Like him blowing up the fucking couple and, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, like.
The stupid theater kid nonsense.
Like you said, it kind of lulls you into that like fugue state where you're just like, you don't give a shit about the fucking. And then everything starts happening and you're like, you're kind of locked back in because there's a lot of like audio and there's a lot of like shit going on. And so it's like. The first half of this movie is fucking rough sometimes.
Well, it's just like
there's some good
on
stuff,
the
but
nose.
There's also some really boring shit, like the fucking lawyer chat.
That was great.
Like we really need that.
That
in
was
a fucking
so on the nose.
Like slasher movie, a fucking lawyer chat.
Yes,
which could have been explained. They've done it countless times in slasher movies. You just have like the doctor saying basically he shouldn't be let out, and then he escapes.
Yeah. But in this, it's literally just, well, there's no evidence. No one's pressing charges. So, you know, we can't arrest him. We can't put him in jail.
Yeah.
Done. Okay, cool. Bye. But it's just, yeah, on. And it's just no soundtrack. It's just dialogue.
Fucking silent, like, soundtrack. There's no, I don't think there's any music unless they're playing music on the radio on something.
Or the whole, like, 5-minute long chit chat in the car with the cops, where it's just audio dialogue and literally ambient noise of like cars and like the motor and like, you know, just like go into your car, start driving your car, turn off the radio, and there you go. But it's just like,
well, and it's like it kind of gives that uncanny feeling where it doesn't feel like real, like there's nothing realistic about it.
It doesn't feel like a movie.
Well, and you don't really get like fully immersed, right? Because like you're just kind of bored at some scenes, and you just like wish like there was some flavor, some like extra thing to kind of draw you into it. Like even like stupid royalty-free music or some shit. Like something to kind of keep you a little bit entertained while these two people talk about fucking nothing.
Or music on the radio, like something. But it's just, again, it's a nice little, you know, it's a movie about people being murdered.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slasher movie.
And a good chunk of it, you're just kind of like, oh, this is cozy.
Yeah. I guess. Which is weird to say for a slasher movie.
This gives off the same vibes as like watching like Bob Ross videos.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there's no concerns.
Just ambient noise of Bob Ross beating the shit out of paintbrush.
Out of his paintbrushes and like the scraping sounds of the... And happy trees.
Yeah.
Happy costumes. Happy Halloween.
There you go. Happy
movie.
fucking Halloween. You got fucking Hollowgate.
The least stressful movie on the planet.
With a theater kid slasher.
Yeah.
That gets popped twice in the head and lives.
Bold.
Imagine that.
Bold. I will say.
That is the weirdest sequel bait I've ever seen.
I mean, every one of these movies has to have the bamboozle ending.
Yep.
But, you know, usually if you're making a non-supernatural movie, your dude doesn't get popped in the head twice and live. But
what do we know, right?
This movie's a little too high IQ for me.
It's too high concept.
It is. There's just too much.
In a sequel, they could have done more costumes, like you were saying.
I literally said that. I was like...
They should have done that.
It's too bad they didn't have a sequel. There's so many stupid Halloween costumes to go through.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at some point, they would have to get to the slutty ones.
I would love to see that 40-year-old in a slutty Halloween
At that point, he'd be
costume.
like 50, and this movie would still be pretending like he's in his 40s.
Like a fucking nurse's outfit or like a fucking like cop uniform. Fucking sexy cop-out uniform or...
Just every costume. But
every costume.
we have to live with the fact that
I'd love to see him like kill someone in like a pimp outfit or like a fucking I don't know like a. I'm trying to think of like ridiculous ones like an '80s b-boy.
I was gonna say beekeeper.
Yeah, you could do beekeeper. Yeah,
But this movie was just too high concept and too intelligent for audiences to understand. So unfortunately, there's no sequel. We just have the one.
People couldn't handle it. Just one Hollow Gate. We didn't get Hollow Gate 2.
It's just too genius. This director never worked before or after this.
We get Halloween, but we don't get Hollow Gate.
Hollow Gate, not Hallow. It's Hollow.
Hollow Gate. You're right. Hollow.
I don't know if they were. I don't know if they thought they were being clever. Instead of making it Hallow Gate, it's Hollow Gate.
It doesn't matter.
If you look at the titles everywhere on the internet, it's 2 words: Hollow Gate.
But in the movie, they smash it together.
But in the movie, it's fucking Hollow Gate.
It doesn't fucking matter. This movie's
Consistency
fucking stupid.
doesn't exist.
This movie's fucking stupid. It's not realistic at all. It's fucking uncanny as shit. It's shot on video. If you're into that sort of thing, it's on Tubi. It's an hour and 25 minutes long. If you want to check it out,
It's amusing.
There are some amusing parts, and it's the golden retriever death is fucking hilarious. So that whole sequence is fucking amazing.
That whole sequence of the nerd having an absolute goddamn fucking bananas breakdown.
And then can't find the fucking keys for the golf cart.
To the fucking him dressed as a butler, hunter, whatever. And the golden retrievers and the tiny log. And the golf cart going 1 mile an hour and going apparently too fast.
Eject.
For her to get literally ejected like 10 feet away. It's just that whole thing is so stupid. We were losing our minds. I cannot believe the audacity.
I like how he said, just one last thing. He told the golden retrievers that they haven't ate since Grandma died, which is that night. So do you think
presumably?
Do you think the dogs would be?
She was already like in full decomposition.
But do you think the dogs would be that hungry that they would eat a fucking human being?
Apparently,
like you'd have to starve dogs for a lot longer than a few hours to fucking have them eat human. What the fuck?
Oh man.
He's like, you haven't eaten since Grandma died. I'm like, bro, that was like a few hours ago.
No, that was just
like, what the fuck? You mean they had their normal meal time?
At most,
you're
it was
starving.
Like,
you haven't eaten in 2 hours,
dude. Well, that's the thing, in the beginning of the movie, there's all those fucking things at the bottom of the screen giving us the exact timeline. 10 years later. 2 years later, but then after that they just
forget about it. And he doesn't really he kills 2 people before the 4 people, so the death count is fucking what?
On camera. Yeah,
what fucking
he blows up the 2 perverts, and then he murders his granny, and then the cops later on describe 4 fucking off-screen murders.
I know. We don't get to see any of them. He didn't even kill the woman in the fucking gas station.
No, it was an attempt. He grabbed her knife, firmly grasped it.
And
then her knife rudely spilled a bunch of gravy on his hand.
Yeah, and then she got away somehow, even though we didn't see any of that scene.
Fakest looking blood I've ever seen in a fucking movie.
Yeah. And she somehow got away.
He didn't like the gravy on his hand.
So she just ran away.
Yeah, that's the kryptonite.
Listen, fellas. Lesson here. No means no.
Oh.
If a woman says she doesn't like ice cream, just let it go.
That's where we're rolling back around to.
Yeah.
No, the real lesson...
You have to have a fucking moral lesson, okay?
The real lesson here is...
But to stretch this out for an hour and I have to fucking...
Avoid theater kids at all costs.
You should be doing that anyway, but yeah.
Because otherwise, you never know when they're going to try some nonsense.
Dude, theater kids are a different breed. There's some good ones, but there's a lot of not good ones. So there's a lot of really annoying ones. So you gotta stay away from them. Okay, just stay away from every single one of them. They may seem nice, but if they start talking way too much about like Hamilton and shit, it might be time to cut them off.
Yeah, if they invite you to the Halloween screening of
If they want
Rocky
you,
Horror Picture Show.
if they want you to like do like a dress up sing along to Wicked, it might be time to if they love how much Cynthia Erivo cries for every fucking interview and how everyone cries around her, it might be time to let that one go. Okay.
Yeah,
You might want to just keep your distance. Is all I'm saying.
It'll also take more than 2 shots directly to the brain.
Yeah, because they have super brains, okay? Like, fucking theater kids are a different breed.
Their skull is...
they have fucking, like, their brains are encased in fucking, like, steel skulls. I don't fucking know. They're like fucking adamantium skulls on fucking theater kids.
Straight up mega mind over here.
Yeah, because theater kids are dangerous, okay?
That's the real
lesson.
That's where we
theater
gotta roll
kids
back around to.
cannot be trusted.
It's true.
So anytime you're just around someone and they're just way too fucking into like,
Especially if they look a little too old for being in their
if they're like
mid-twenties.
way too into musical theater, just keep your distance. That's all I'm saying.
Especially on Halloween time.
If they're like obsessed with musical theater,
Because Halloween gives them an excuse to dress up, and that is, that's dangerous.
yeah,
Because then, boy, as soon as they bring out the fucking Army Man costume.
you're fucked. You're fucked. Because listen, they're fucking, they're method. They're fucking method as shit. They go real method with their murdering, okay?
Yeah.
You gotta really watch out for them. What the fuck are we doing? Okay, we're gonna end the episode there. This has been a fucking weird weave, an attack on theater kids. We're sorry if you're a theater kid. You are a little weird, I will admit that, but you're probably not all murderers, okay?
Yeah, just
kind of
don't.
maybe dial it back a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just maybe be like more, I don't know, like don't obsess too much about it.
The grass must be touched.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to touch grass.
Okay?
It's okay to like things. It's okay to be obsessed with things.
No, don't ever like anything ever.
You just
This is a podcast
sometimes
for
podcast
haters.
for haters. You know what? Fuck theater kids.
I've never liked anything in
You're
my
right.
life.
Fuck theater kids. Fuck nerds. Fuck horror fans.
Yeah, I don't like any of these
You know
movies.
what?
I've never
Slasher
liked,
movies suck. We just made this because we hate everything.
I've never liked a single movie.
What are we fucking doing right now?
I've never enjoyed anything in my life. I'm a pure nihilist.
Yeah, we are both nihilists. We're black-pilled as fuck.
I just stare into the. I just go home and stare into the abyss.
Everything is pointless. These movies are pointless.
Yeah, life is just meaningless.
And nothing has value or merit.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, that positive
On
note.
that note, buy my supplements.
Yeah. Buy my black pill supplements.
Buy my supplements and
They will not improve your mood.
buy gold through
Yeah.
my sponsors.
Buy my crypto.
Buy my crypto
my
coin.
my meme coin will be dropping on meme.fun.
I will not be. It will not be a rug pull. I promise you.
Definitely not a rug pull, okay?
Join my university,
Yeah.
Team Code University.
Team
If you
Code
wanna
University.
be a real man
We will teach you in 10 easy lessons
of $59.99.
$59.99 how to be a podcaster of your own
How to be a real man.
of your own 500 person
Do you want to
podcast.
be your own boss, babe?
Will you be as big as Joe Rogan? No, but you will.
You will be better.
You'll be
you
your
will be the
own-
biggest man. Your balls will be so huge.
I'll be fucking massive, bro.
You'll have to size up your panties, boy.
I know. I have like fucking 5
I
times
can't
my
even
size.
go outside.
No, it's
Because
embarrassing.
The supplements I take, my balls are so torqued.
Yeah, no.
I can't. No one can handle it.
Everyone just looks away in shock and fear, but women love it. Men fear me, but women don't. Okay, that's the real thing.
Women, yeah.
Women want me. They want my gigantic.
And if they don't, it's because they're also scared.
They want my gigantic pig testicles. Okay. What the fuck is this happening? Okay, listen. For They Mostly Come Out at Night, this has been Will.
This has been Alex.
We will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Holy fuck.
Do not buy our
Do not buy supplements.
Go
Do
drink
not
a
buy crypto. It's a scam. Fucking
Just
everything is a scam.
Drink your fucking milk, eat your veggies, and shut your fucking piles.
Stay healthy, everyone. Goodbye.